what kind of heart do you have? I know we talk about what kind of soil are you, but what kind of heart do you have? Do you have a hard heart where the seed basically or the message of the word just sits on the surface of your heart and can't really get in and is just easily knocked away and snatched up? Do you have a sort of a stony heart which is kind of, you can get excited about things, but there's no time for the roots to kind of, dig in there? Do you have a heart that's got thorns in it? It's somewhat cleaned out, so you can kind of get a little bit more going on in there, but it's still too many things in there that can really mess with what you're trying to understand? Or do you have a good soil, good heart, good cleaned out heart? See, part of the biggest problem of all this stuff is that do you and did you take the time? Did you take the time, and are you taking the time to clean house? See, unfortunately, most people, this is the analogy I always like to use. It's kind of like you came out of wherever you were, all burdened down with all kinds of stuff, and you're taking each one of the items one at a time, and you're looking at it and going, okay, is this safe to keep? And you're deciding whether or not to put it down. It's hard, though, to put things down. I use the analogy, wouldn't it be more sensible to come out and put everything down and pick things up one at a time and ask whether or not it's safe to take it back? Because now you've already let it go. In other words, the emotional attachment is no longer there. Now you're picking things up and holding it at arm's length going, I wonder, is this okay? As opposed to taking something that's been in your pocket and going, okay, this is mine and I like it, I have attachment to it. I don't know if I want to let it go. Let's put everything down and then decide what's safe to pick back up. Because now you've got a nice, clean, empty heart ready to rebuild. See, this is the problem. Because people will come into this and they'll make the very basic, simple, mechanical changes. They'll move from Sunday to Saturday. They'll stop eating pork and shellfish, etc. So they'll clean up their eating. They'll stop Christmas and Easter and start doing the feasts. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is still Pentecostal or Baptist or Lutheran or Catholic or Methodist or whatever. Okay? Or even from the Jewish perspective, it's Orthodox or this or that. They're bringing this other baggage with them that they did not put down to decide whether it's okay to pick it back up. And so, you walk into a congregation, and I've had people call me, and they're all upset and all distraught because the only thing there where they live is a Messi-costal congregation or a Messi-Baptist congregation or a Messi-Catholic congregation, whatever it is. They claim to be Messianic, but when you walk in, it's the other denominational doctrinal positions with a tallit on it or something. It's just not, okay? You're putting a little bit of a Torah-observant wrapper around inside. It's still doctrinally, belief system-wise, all of that positional stuff is still the denominational understanding. And so if you go to a lot of these places, you're going to get absolutely that, whether it's Baptist or it doesn't matter, Baptist, Pentecostal, Lutheran, Methodist, whatever it is, you can walk in there. If you were one of them, you'll recognize immediately that's exactly what you're hearing. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of you know some of the big name teachers out there that when you're listening to them, you go, oh yeah, he was a Baptist. Oh yeah, no, he was Pentecostal. Oh yeah, he used to be Catholic. Because you can hear it. You know it's still there. Because even those guys haven't cleaned it out. I see a lot of nodding heads. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of these guys are really big. But when you listen, because I wasn't any of those denominations, so sometimes I listen and I go, man, that sounded a little strange. And someone says, oh yeah, that's his Baptist coming out. Oh, that's his Lutheran coming out. And I'm like, oh, see, because I never was one of those. I couldn't tell the difference. I mean, if someone was speaking something that was very denominationally, I wouldn't know which A it was. I couldn't tell you if it was Baptist, Lutheran, Pentecostal, this or that. I wouldn't know. Okay? But if you were one, you'd know. If you had been there, you'd know. So this affects your heart. This affects, what kind of environment are you creating to receive? He's given you a heart to receive. In other words, a desire, a willingness. But are you doing what you need to do to receive? Or are you allowing a lot of thorns in there? Is it very stony and rocky? So there's no room for the roots to go. Are you still dealing with lots of fear and doubt issues or things that you still want, like, and desire that are causing you to stumble but I don't want to do that. I like to do this. I'd rather do that. But I love doing this. Oh, well, that's not fair. Why can't I do that? Well, because of the I problem, which, I've often jokingly said, ay, to your I. But that's where we all really have the most problem, isn't it? The I. But but that's not fair. Why does that have to be? I don't like that. I don't want to do that. But I really love doing this. Get the me, I sort of thing out of there. See, when Yeshua said, I have a humble heart, what is he saying? I don't have any of that I problem. He says, everything I say, everything I do is what my Father tells me to do. Wow. Talk about submission. This is discipleship.